Hello, my name's Mark Helm, and I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Self-Storage Quick Start Academy. And I help people who are getting in the self-storage business, and I help people who want to grow their self-storage business strategically do so in a way that creates true wealth and a fulfilling career. So here's a question for you. Is it possible to have a soft landing rather than have a bubble burst in the self-storage industry today? Well, that question, first of all, presupposes that there's a bubble, that there is a self-storage bubble. And then secondly, if there is one, how can we, instead of having a bubble burst like in 2008, have more of a soft landing in our industry? So let's look at the bubble part first. So is there a self-storage bubble? Well, if you look around and see all of the construction going on, it's very easy to draw a conclusion that yes, perhaps there is a self-storage bubble. Jerrigan Capital, for example, who is a institutional player in the self-storage space, has certain markets, certain cities now that they will not go in because, in their opinion, it's overbuilt and there's, quote, a bubble in that area. I'm actually a little surprised at that, knowing what we know, but those guys are much smarter than me, so I'm not going to question them, and they probably know a lot that I don't know. But here's one thing I think I do know, is that self-storage is still a sub-market phenomena. More than any other real estate play in the market today, self-storage is an extreme sub-market phenomena. For example, I find it very interesting how many facilities are going up in Dallas or Houston. I mean, it's a scary number, over 100 in Dallas, approaching 100 in Houston. That's a lot of self-storage coming on the market in those cities. So I'm interested in that. But I'm real interested in how many self-storage facilities are coming online in the sub-market of where I'm currently own or where I'm looking to build or buy. Interesting for the city, critical for the sub-market. Why? Well, self-storage is an extreme sub-market phenomena. In other words, no one's going to drive from the woodlands of Houston down to Hobby Airport to rent a storage facility because they like the way the doors look on the storage facility down near the airport. They're just not going to do it. People rent self-storage where they live or where they work. When we run the stats on our facilities, it's usually between 85 and 92% of all the tenants in our facilities come within the, quote, market area of our self-storage facility. It's a very strong sub-market phenomena. People rent where they live or where they work. That's the good news about self-storage. That's what attracted us to the self-storage business. And that's what attracted me to the self-storage industry, because we can get data, feasibility reports, that will accurately define the market area of the facility or the land that you're looking at, and will accurately define what the potential supply and demand is. And there's going to be less variables hitting that because people are not going to be going outside the market area too much or coming in the market area too much to rent from you, because self-storage is such a sub-market phenomenon. So let's get back to the original question. Is there a bubble? Well, the answer is, I don't know. You've got to look at your sub-market by sub-market, location by location, to determine if there's a bubble or not. How do you know if there's a bubble? Well, there's a number of ways. Get a feasibility report. That will ultimately tell you. In fact, never buy a facility or buy a piece of land for self-storage without getting it, but you can actually do some of the preliminary work yourself, just like Jerrigan Capital does. just like the Self-Storage Association does. And how do you do it? Well, first of all, you pull up the demographics of your area, of the location or the facility that you're looking at, pull up the demographics, and then you can go plot on a Google map where the self-storage facilities are in a 3 or 5 mile or both radius of that particular location. Now, is this exact? No, but it'll be fairly accurate. Then you look at the facilities and you guess the size. So how do you know what the size is? Well, usually I don't know what the size is, but I'll look at it, either drive by or I'll use Google Earth or something and look at it. And I know from the statistics at the Self-Storage Association that the average facility is 54,000, 53,500 square feet, somewhere in that range. And I can look at it and see if this is bigger than that or smaller than that. I can usually look at Google Earth and tell, and I'll guess. I'll put an estimate of what the size is down next to that facility. Then I total up how many square feet I think are in the submarket. Then I look at the population. I see how many people are in that particular market area, 3 or 5 mile radius. And then I divide how many square feet of self-storage there are per person in that market area. Next, I look at the Self-Storage Association or Inside Self-Storage Almanac, and I look at in that city or that state, what is the average amount of square footage per person. Then I look at the number I just created, and if it's under, that generally tells me that there's unmet demand. If it's over, that generally tells me that there's not much demand in that submarket. And if it's fairly close, that tells me that submarket's most likely in equilibrium. Now, do I make my final decisions off my estimate? No. If I'm really interested in it, I will get a feasibility report, but that gives me a hint of what the health is and the market dynamics are of that submarket. Now, here's the thing. The big players do this. The REITs do this. The larger companies do this. Jerrigan Capital does this. They're doing it city by city. My suggestion is, rather than city by city, do it submarket by submarket. Yes, if Houston is overbuilt, or yes, if Dallas is overbuilt, that's a red flag. But that's all that is a red flag. That means go very cautiously. Look at your submarket. Look at your submarket. Here's the thing. We have the data today to be able to do, as a small investor, what the large investors do. Do it. It's at your fingertips. It doesn't cost a lot of money. You're going to be investing hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars in a potential facility. And to not get a feasibility report is almost a crime. The data is at your fingertips. You don't have to guess. You can know the health and the supply demand of your submarket. Now, if every investor does that, then yes, you can have a soft landing, because it's not in your best interest or in anyone else's best interest to add more square footage in a submarket that's overbuilt. Why would you do that? You wouldn't. That would be going against your own self-interest. So is it possible to have a soft landing? Absolutely, it's possible to have a soft landing. Why? Because you never before has a smaller investor had all this data at their fingertips to know the exact dynamics of a submarket. And remember, the feasibility reports that you get are usually extremely accurate. Why? Because self-storage is such a sub-market phenomena. That's the beauty of self-storage, or one of the beauties of it. It is a fantastic product because, for many reasons, less variables on your net operating income, steel wall, concrete floor generating income that most finished areas will generate, and because you can assess your risk very accurately through feasibility reports, because self-storage is such a sub-market phenomena. So use the data that's at your disposal. Make accurate decisions about what your submarket's doing and whether it can stand more supply in it. Be smart, grow your self-storage business strategically. You now have the ability to play at the level that the big guys are playing at. Use it. It'll make all the difference in the world, not only for you and your self-storage business, but it can create the possibility of a soft landing for the entire industry the next time a bubble arises. So thank you very much. My name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Storage World Analyzer. Now, if you've been having some issues with the Storage World Analyzer, I apologize. We have a lot of people on it, and frankly, the system in which it was built was never designed to hold the number of people who are currently using it. We're building a new platform with many updated and new features for it. We'll be rolling it out in a few weeks. So I apologize if it's a little buggy right now. Know that that's being addressed, and we'll address it, and it is a fantastic program for analyzing self-storage. We'll roll out the new version, and I'll go over it in detail with you. So thank you very much, and then let me know how you're doing. I look forward to hearing your challenges and your successes as you grow your self-storage business. Remember, use the data at your disposal, submarket by submarket. You can have a soft landing. Talk to you later.